Hello friends. This video is brought to you by mywayteaching.com.
Here we start with division of integers. We know that if 3 times 5 is 15, this implies that 15 divided by 3 equal to 5 and 15 divided by 5 equal to 3. That means for each multiplication statement of whole numbers, there are 2 division statements. We have already learned multiplication of integers. Let us take up an example. If we have 2 into minus 6, our answer is minus 12. This would imply that minus 12 divided by 2 is equal to minus 6 and minus 12 divided by minus 6 is equal to 2. But firstly, let us consider the first case where a negative integer is divided by a positive integer. That means we are getting minus 12 by 2 equal to minus 6. Here we are actually performing the normal division, 2 6 are 12, and putting a negative sign. So we can say that when we divide a negative integer by a positive integer, we divide them as whole numbers and put a minus sign before the quotient. We thus get a negative integer as the answer. What happens if we divide a positive integer by a negative integer? Consider minus 9 into minus 8 is equal to 72 by the rule of multiplication. This would imply 72 divided by minus 9 is equal to minus 8 and 72 divided by minus 8 equal to minus 9. We can also write it as 72 by minus 9 is equal to minus 8. In other words, we have just divided the two whole numbers and in the answer we have included this minus sign. So we can say that when we divide a positive integer by a negative integer, we divide them as whole numbers and put a minus sign before the quotient. We thus get a negative integer. What happens when we divide a negative integer by a negative integer? We know that 2 into minus 6 is minus 12. That would mean minus 12 divided by 2 is minus 6 and minus 12 divided by minus 6 is 2. So this time let us consider the second part. Actually what we are doing is minus 12 divided by minus 6 is giving us 2. That means we are dividing them as whole numbers and cancelling the negative signs. So we are left with the positive sign. So we can say that when we divide a negative integer by a negative integer, we divide them as whole numbers and put a positive sign before the quotient. We thus get a positive integer. We thus conclude division of integers as division of a if a and b are any two integers, then division of a negative integer by a positive integer will give us a negative integer, positive integer by a negative integer will give negative integer, and negative integer by a negative integer will give us positive integer. It remains to discuss the properties of division of integer. Let us discuss the closure property. If we divide -8 by -4, we get answer as +2, which is an integer. If we divide -8 by 3, what is our answer? Surely it is not an integer. It will be some decimal number. So we have found at least one case where division of two integers does not give an integer. So we can say integers are not closed under division. Let us check if division satisfies the second property, that is the commutative property. If we divide 25 by -5, and -5 by 25, we will get -5 and -1 by 5 as the answers. That means the order in which we divide two integers change the answer, and hence we can say division is not commutative for integers. Here we have to discuss division of and with 0. Consider any integer, say -10. -10 divided by 0 is not defined. Means 0 cannot be put in the denominator, or we cannot divide any integer by 0. But 0 by 5 is equal to 0. That means if we divide 0 by any integer, then the answer comes out to be 0. So we have, for any integer a divided by 0 is not defined, and 0 divided by a is equal to 0. Let us check for the next property, division identity. Say we take any integer -8. If we divide it by 1, we can get -8. So 1 is the division identity, and we can say for any integer a divided by 1 is equal to a. Let us check if associative property holds for division. Say we take -16, 4 and -2 as the three integers, then group -16 with 4 and then divide by -2, and for the second grouping take -16 divide by 4 divide by -2. we solve the first grouping and get minus 4 divided by minus 2, which will give us plus 2. And the second grouping will give us minus 16 divided by minus 2, which is equal to plus 8. That means the way we group the three integers while division matters, and hence division is not associative for integers.